So can we just agree that Matthew Vaughn makes Mark Millar work watchable? Is this, I feel like that's safe to say. I think that's a safe thing to assume right now. Today on Readus Reviews, I review Kingsman: The Golden Circle, the sequel to Kingsman: The Secret Service, and proof that all it takes to make Mark Millar good is for somebody else to rewrite his shit. Oh, I'm sorry, were you expecting me to be tolerant of Mark Millar just because I enjoyed this movie? No. No, honey, no, I don't, no. Anyway, the story takes place a year after the first one, and shit has literally hit the fan. I say that because within the first 10 to 15 minutes, Kingsman as an organization gets fucking destroyed. All thanks to this drug dealer named Poppy, whose main motivation is to legalize drugs. Now, I know what you're thinking. But Laron, that's such a vague statement. Exactly what drugs is she trying to legalize? The answer to that? Yes. And from this onslaught, Eggsy and Merlin are the only survivors, and they go to see the Statemen, their cousins from America. And with their help, they go on a mission to stop Poppy once and for all. So I would have to say that the story for this one is definitely enjoyable. I would say the dialogue was on par with the first one, the fights were definitely on par with the first one, and also the worldwide doomsday event that happens in this movie, like the first one, was just as interesting and massive as the first one. And just like the first one, despite how catastrophic Matthew Vaughn makes you see the overall doomsday event that's happening over the course of the movie, it's very interestingly isolated. Watching the overall plot of movies like this, understanding how dire these situations are, and at the end of the day see it resolve itself within an isolated area with only 1 to 3 guys handling the situation is, I always found very interesting watching these Kingsman movies. Cause in my opinion, even the Bond movies find a way to make the final battle just as iconic and epic as the overall plot and the overall, like, if this villain succeeds, this will happen sort of thing. So not only am I surprised that they went that route with both of the Kingsman movies, but I'm also surprised that they both work in these situations. I guess it just proves that to a certain extent, less does equal more. So let's talk about the characters that stood out to me the most, starting with Eggsy. I feel that Eggsy was the best written character in this movie, mostly because you saw his character development from one pass on, but at the same time you see that he still stays true to his character. Like, he learned what he incorporated in his Kingsman training from the first movie over into the second one, yet it was still him. He just incorporated it into his personality. And I think that's the best way of treating character progression in sequels. It shows that the character's capable of learning, and it just makes them all the more likable in my opinion. Galahad was awesome as always. The reason why he survived Kingsman 1 made sense to me as far as the rules of the universe was concerned. What they did in order to keep him alive so that he could be in the sequel, in my opinion, was properly used over the course of the movie. And I appreciated that, because if they did that, it would seem that they just made up said concept just for the sake of bringing back the character. As for his personal arc, it kind of reminded me of how they treated Kay in Men in Black 2, only done slightly better. Mark Strong as Merlin was also good. He definitely had a lot more to do in this movie than he did in 1, and he utilizes that to its fullest. Like I stated before, readers, the movie's plot was very well handled. It did a good job being entertaining while at the same time hitting on both the liberal and conservative pros and cons to drug use. Not to South Park extremes, but it was able to do it in a tasteful yet entertaining manner. The music used throughout was great, both the actual soundtrack and the songs incorporated from different artists. Elton John's cameo was fucking awesome. And of course, the fight scenes and how they were shot were just beautiful, fucking beautiful. But if I were to nitpick, I would have to say that one of my biggest disappointments in this movie was the use of Channing Tatum. Like, they advertised him as if he was going to have a very big role in this movie, but at the end of the day, his character was only used to introduce the statesman and to introduce him to the overall dilemma that was put on by Poppy. So I'm hoping that, because you know what's going to fucking happen, he has a bigger role in Kingsman 3. So yeah, overall I'd say Kingsman: The Golden Circle was a good time. If you enjoyed Kingsman 1, you're definitely going to like this one. And if you just like spy action movies in general, then you're definitely going to get a kick out of this. However, if Kingsman: The Golden Circle is the first Kingsman movie you're about to see, then I would have to say, don't, and watch 1 before you watch this one. I'd say it's definitely worth a ticket admission, definitely worth purchasing on home video. So with that, readers, your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comments section below what you thought of Kingsman: The Golden Circle if you've seen it. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.